everyone, and welcome back to another episode of AV Career Masterminds. As you guys have been listening the last couple weeks, we have been talking to the learners from Next Level Learning that will be attending InfoComm. So today we have our third and final learner we're going to be talking to. So Brandon, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Brandon Lynch. I'm 22 years old. I work here at the University of Central Florida. I've been working here, only for a couple of months as a full-timer. I was a student worker for quite some time before that, so probably only worked in this AV stuff for about a year and a half now. I've been enjoying it. I'm ready to go to InfoComm. This is gonna be my first time going to any event like this. It's exciting. I'm happy to be here.
Good. So started out as student worker, now employee. So what did you attend UCF for? Because
Here we go.
yeah, this is probably the best question we always ask, because if you ask
Yep.
anybody in the industry, they didn't go to school for it and they fell into the industry.
Yes,
So as
exactly.
a young professional, what did you attend UCF for?
So I came to UCF. My first year was 2020, so it was COVID when I was here. I still lived on campus, but most of my classes were online. I started coming here for computer science. I did start kind of in that realm. I always kind of wanted to get into technology, but I wasn't very in love with it. I didn't really enjoy doing it. Computer science programming was not my thing. And then after COVID came out, there was a huge, boom of social interaction here in Florida. We got everything reopened, and I switched to hospitality. And I
Okay.
really enjoyed hospitality. I worked in a restaurant for a short amount of time. I, tried doing some event bartending gigs, and went to school here for a while. Graduated with my hospitality degree, but in that time, I kind of just started, mass applying to jobs. And I wanted to get something on campus. I would have loved to have a job on campus. And really, the only one I could find on campus was this, Office of Instructional Resources AV tech job.
Right.
They picked me up, said, "We don't care if you know nothing. We're ready to teach you and show you how it works." And man, I just love it. It's an enjoyable job.
Well, and it's funny because you say hospitality, because one of the things that we do talk about though is hospitality, as the way I look at it, can encompass lots of things, right? So you could be working for a hotel potentially down the road doing their AV. So you may use that hospitality degree at some
Yeah,
point, but
that's the goal right now in my brain to combine them at one point.
yeah. So only opening that you could find was within the AV. And so
Yeah.
not afraid at all, or was just like totally fine. I'm going to jump in and see what this is.
It was scary when I got accepted, when I did my interview, and I actually felt like it went really good. My manager here, incredible person. He, helped bring me on, and after I talked with him for a while, I started to feel, confident that I could do this. And luckily I have, a fantastic team around me that has been here for a while. Lots of guys that, know everything. I can't even imagine how long it's going to take for me to get to their level, but it was an easy transition, but definitely took a while to get the grasp of everything we got going on here.
Right. So as a student worker, how long did you do that position?
I was a student worker for just over a year. I
Okay.
think the life, expectancy, or however you want to word it, they're only supposed to work for a year.
Okay.
But I was graduating, and they knew that I didn't have anywhere else to go right away, so they kept me on for a little bit longer, and then eventually gave me the full-time position. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
So still kind of fell into it a little bit, right? Because
yeah,
you were
100%.
but the computer science portion of it does, because when we talk about AV now, it's AV and IT. So it is,
Yes,
the audiovisual information technology, and the information technology side has a whole umbrella of things that fall underneath
yeah,
it. So we had an opportunity to be able to bring learners, right? And so for us and the two young ladies that we've already
mhm,
talked to, and I
okay.
don't know if you've had a chance to meet, we
No,
met
I have
them in
not.
person. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because we saw them at an event that we did at Pace University for International Women's Day.
Mm.
So we knew we wanted to bring three. So when we started to look at who else to bring, obviously these three, the two young ladies work at universities. We wanted to keep our third person in a university. So of
You're
course,
right.
immediately all of us said we need to reach out to Donnie and see if Donnie has somebody on his team.
He's a great guy. He's a fantastic guy.
We love Donnie. That is why we said we need to reach out. And so, was Donnie the one that approached you, or was it
So
someone else in your
no,
team?
it was actually his name's Scott. Scott Pritchett is still my manager. He's the one that, I mean, honestly, I don't know how many people here in the office know why I first applied to this job, but it was, I wanted an on-campus job because that means I get football games off. I
Oh,
don't have to work a football game. I get to,
okay. Yeah.
so that was my first, thought when I saw this job. But after talking with the guys here, I met Scott, I met, Donnie, I met all these people, and they, really just an easy environment to work in, super friendly. Everybody, loves to help each other out. It was an easy transfer.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
So coming when they approached you about with next level, right?
Okay.
What
Okay.
what was
Oh,
the
right.
So what was that conversation like? Because again, George Chaco reached out and said,
Hmm.
and we're follow up with Johnny and see, and we knew that there was a couple guidelines and things he needed to verify with the university ongoing, which we completely understood. But what was that? What was the conversation? Because we don't know, right?
Yes.
He
I
All he
don't
said
know if
was
they
yes,
knew
I
either.
have.
So yeah, I was first approached by my manager, Scott. He told me that he said there was an opportunity, and that was about all he was able to tell me about it. He didn't
Okay,
really know. He said we could go to InfoComm, as a whole department, but how would you like to go to InfoComm for the whole week? And I said, well, how's that going to work?
right.
Who's doing that? They told me about next level. They tried to give me as much information as they had. I did talk to Donnie a little bit about it. He told me, how George is going to have me booked this whole week, how
Yep.
we're just going to keep working and keep doing whatever we can find there. So I've talked to all of them about it. I still don't know if I have a full grasp of what we're going to do, but I don't really care. At this point in my career, I feel like I'm just going to say yes to everything. And
Yeah.
this is, feels like once in a lifetime kind of deal. So,
So then, have they explained to you and discussed with you a little bit about what InfoComm actually is, the show
yeah,
in a way?
I know all the vendors. I know we were going to have so many booths out there, lots of presentations. I think, Donnie's going to be up on stage there
Yep.
at InfoComm. We've got some representation here from UCF going to be up there. So I'll see these shows, but I mean, I'm going to need some help
Yeah.
being guided through this. I don't know what I'm going to see when I get there.
So it's a big convention hall, right?
Yeah.
So from our standpoint, what we look at next level is we want to make sure that when we're sending you guys there, we're not sending you like most of us have attended
Okay.
at our first InfoComm. Our, Anybody that you talk to, they will tell you their first InfoComm, they walk in and they're not sure what to do. They don't know where to go. They didn't make a plan. It's massive. They get stuck places. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So we're hoping to alleviate that. So I know
Good.
that in our hopefully we can get you in the meeting here soon. So we give you your rundown. When we did it with Georgia, her eyes opened up a little bit because
Oh boy, here we go.
busy. So talking and understanding, we're going to have you at the show. We're going to send you to the CTS prep class
Okay.
that's there. It is going to be the literally all day from morning till night, right? So when we kind of presented that, our original thought as the team was
Uh-huh.
we're just going to have you stay close to where we are. We know that you live down there. I am a Florida resident. I know I-4.
Oh,
It gets
fantastic.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so what was that thought for you? If you go, oh, well, I live here. I can just go
Yeah.
home and sleep in my own bed,
That's
right?
exactly what I said. I had a Zoom call with George very early on. Just trying to figure out what was going to happen. I know that my manager told me right away that you guys wanted us to stay at a hotel over there, and I was like, I don't see a point for that. I'll just drive over. Sure, I-4 can be a bit of a hassle, but
Yeah.
I drive it quite a bit. So I felt comfortable with that, but it started getting explained to me just how long these days are going to be. What time I'd have to get there in the morning, what time I'd have to wake up for my apartment. And I thought maybe it would be best if I stay at the hotel. That might be a little bit closer.
Definitely a little bit closer. We
Yeah.
do. We've got breakfast with you guys first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in your email you have seen you've been invited to, and you have your QR code to scan for
Yep.
evening events. And so that's the other aspect of this, right? When you are out at the show,
Mhm.
everybody is on for the show. It's talking about their product, it's talking about their technology, it's trying to understand what you're trying to do and what are you here to look for, and all of those things.
Right.
What ends up happening then in the evenings are all the parties, as they're called, but they're networking events.
Yeah.
So when you think about that and looking at being so green into the industry, what's that networking feel like for you?
I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking, I gotta say, there's so many, names to remember. That's something I am horrible at is, I'll shake a hand and forget their name by the time I walk out of the room. So I think it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be fun, and I mean, most of all, it's gonna be necessary
Yeah.
for what I'm doing. An opportunity like this, the amount of people that are gonna be there, I think it's, an excellent opportunity for me to shake hands,
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
some names, maybe write them down in a notepad.
LinkedIn is always a great thing,
That's
right?
a good point. That's a good
That is
point.
connect with them on LinkedIn. It shows right up at the first couple that when you look at your network, and then you can remember. That's what I do. I'm like you. I don't remember people's names, or I remember faces, not their names. I can tell
Right.
you where they've worked
Yep. Yep.
over the years and everything. So coming over and understanding all of that. Or do you have any concerns or fears of being there and this type of exposure so green?
I do think I struggle a lot with, I mean, not only names of people, but names of things, pieces of technology. I'm not exactly the most well versed in the vocab of what we've got going on here. So, going from booth to booth, I'm not sure, if I'm going to embarrass myself in front of some of these people and let them know, hey, I have no idea what this is. I don't know how it works, but it looks really cool. I'd like to see what happens, but
Yeah. And
we'll
that's
see.
the great thing. As I think you've got to see this,
Mhm.
especially being at UCF and the team that's there, how open, how welcoming they are, right? That's the entire industry as a whole. Everyone is open, everyone is welcoming. I'm sure, we have made it known. Obviously, we're having talking to you here. We're making it known on social with all of our partners and our
Yeah.
sponsors that our learners are coming. Don't be surprised if people are bombarding you, because we want them to do that in a very stand back kind of non-threatening way, but we want them to ensure that you all are being welcomed with open arms, like everyone here in the industry does. um so tell me a little bit about then, after, what you want to be able to learn to bring back to UCF.
I think I would love to just have an understanding of, I mean, how much is out there. UCF is such a big campus. We have, I mean, hundreds of classrooms. We have so many students here all the time. We have kind of found a little bit of a system, I guess I'd say, on what we install into these rooms and how we build, a space out. I think it would be, super beneficial to see what else is out there. I've been held to this little bubble of UCF, and I can fix anything we've got here, but anything else out there in the world, I think I would struggle with. I think this is really going to be good to broaden my knowledge, to maybe learn some words. Maybe I can understand what people are talking about when they're using these, high vocab kind of deal. But
And industry uses acronyms. We have an acronym for
yes,
everything. So don't be afraid if somebody throws something out there to say, what does that mean? Because every day there's a
I'll be
new
doing it a
acronym.
lot. Yeah.
There are new ones coming up all of the time. We love to use them.
Cool.
So also with attending InfoComm and all of these networking sessions, right? You get the ability to grow that network.
Yeah.
So also knowing that within the higher education community, there's HETMA, which is the Higher Education Technology Managers Alliance. they will have a booth there. And so one of the things that we're trying to ensure is that we get you over there to meet the people that are there, because
Yeah.
they are your peers, right? So what is that one thing that you think is beneficial, or you're hoping to get out of standing there with a group of your peers from UCLA or Vanderbilt or Johns Hopkins or UNLV or any of the universities? Even there's even a gentleman that'll be there from Ireland, Justin. So
Wow.
what do you think and do you feel of just being in that group, and if you could ask them any kind of questions?
I would probably ask how easily or how well or even what their system is for working, with other departments in higher education. We have, I feel, I mean, not so many issues, but I feel like we've started to run into some problems where it's just kind of hard to communicate between, our multimedia team, our IT team, the network team, the class schedulers, or, there's just, I feel like probably a better solution to this communication between departments at such a large university. I'd love to speak to other, big scale higher education spaces and how they can, manage all of these different facets of, technology. How are they tackling these issues together? One of my least favorite things to do here is when I run into an issue that I want to solve for the professor that I think should be something simple, but then I run into something that, maybe the software won't download, or maybe we've run into a network issue and we're not getting enough, or we're not getting enough power out of the wall to give us enough, um,
Great.
power for all these pieces of equipment we have in here. What is, the solution?
So looking at it, you guys are kind of siloed, you feel, in a way, right?
Yeah,
Is your
I feel like there's times where each department kind of feels like we're tackling our own issues because everybody's so busy here. I mean,
Mhm.
by no means is anybody doing a bad job. It's just it's hard for us to all do the same job sometimes.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to solve the problems they've already got.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I definitely think that there's going to be a group there that you are going to be able to meet and talk to and be able to get some feedback on what they're doing. I think I know some of their answers for that too, because I know all of them very well over there. But you'll definitely be able to chat with that group. So, what is your day to day like at UCF now? So you've moved up from the
Yeah.
student worker. We now are full time employed. So what does your day to day entail?
Well, I work, a bit of a strange shift, I guess you could say. I get in at 1 p.m. and I leave here at 10 p.m. So, especially right now in the summer, I don't see as many classes.
Hmm.
I used to work as a student worker. My main job, was really tackling the incidents as they came in, as quickly as possible, solve any issues the moment they come in. So I'd be going into active classes and, solving something
Right.
easy like a projector just needs to be turned on, or, maybe I need to, rewire something. I
Right.
need to re-terminate a cable. Something got broken.
Right.
Now it is a lot more about the issues that we couldn't solve right away. Now I get to sit in a classroom for, an hour with nobody in it, and I need to break everything down piece by piece and figure out why this kind of issue is happening. So I feel like I've gotten a better chance to teach myself
Uh-huh.
in this, later half of the day when it's a little bit slower. Instead of, kind of being thrown into it as a student, which is definitely something that I needed. That is what I fell in love with quickly, honestly, was because my hospitality degree, I think, gave me a lot of those customer service
Hmm.
skills, talking with the professors, kind of de escalating an issue, helping them with the workaround, letting them know that, it may not be something that we can do right away, but we'll get you running right now because we know how
Right.
important that is as a student as well. I understood these people want to learn as much as this teacher wants to teach, and it all comes from the technology we've given them. So,
So going to that,
mhm.
because when we look at as an industry, right? And so me working at a manufacturer and even integration companies, we look at you as our customer. So you are our customer. everybody within higher ed hates to be called the end user, right? Because
Right.
you're not. You are my customer, but your customer and your end user
Hmm.
is a professor, but it's
Yep.
also all the way down to the student. So, how do you handle that type of stress with a professor because the professor wants to teach the class and something's not working?
I think I say a lot because we have a lot of new student workers coming in now. I mean, we're hiring more and more every day, it seems. So I always tell them that one of the easiest things that I learned is sometimes you kind of have to be angry with them.
Mhm.
If something's broken, you got to tell them, "Oh, I know, I can't believe it. Why? How can this thing break? I swear I checked it this morning." But we'll let them know that this is an issue. If it's something that needs to be solved, if it's something as important that they physically can't teach anymore, we have to let them know that that's not acceptable. That we've got to get on top of it. I do my best to work quickly. I think that's one of the one of my best facets is not even working quickly, but getting to it quickly.
Mhm.
It may be hot in the summer, but I still, I walk fast. I sometimes get up into a little bit of a jog sometimes if I got to go to the other side of campus. We got a lot of space to cover here.
Yes, you
So
do.
I kind of make sure that they can tell that I'm hustling. I'm making sure that anything I can do will be done right away. And a big thing, in our industry is a workaround. We
Mhm.
gotta get this up somehow. If there's a PTZ camera broken, I'm gonna tape a webcam to the wall if that's what I have to do. I'll move it around myself. I'll sit in the classroom. I'll be the PTZ. I'll pan, tilt, and zoom it myself.
Yes.
Um, but it's started to come a little bit easier now that they recognize me. There's a lot of professors. Most of the professors that have issues will continue to have issues. I don't know if that is a
Mm.
user issue, or maybe it's a classroom they teach in. Maybe they just
Mhm.
teach in a classroom that has lots of issues
Right.
themselves. Has nothing to do with them, but we've got to help them. And once they know that I'm coming by to help them, once they know that we've got their back, they normally
Mhm.
calm down. We don't have too much issues with a angry professor, at least not for long.
So then, as you're going in and talking to them, do you ever get a feeling from them that because you are younger, you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're talking about? Has that ever come across?
It has. I will say it's honestly rare. I feel like a
Okay.
lot of the professors we have here respect that we are younger and that we probably do understand some things better than they do. I think a lot
Okay.
of them have started to say, you guys have upgraded these rooms so many times. I have no idea what any of this stuff does.
Right.
Um, but I have had a couple of times in which, a professor will maybe not say it out loud, but I can definitely tell that they're not exactly, respecting me or, thinking I'm capable of the job.
Right.
I tend to it's all about speed. I feel like it's all about showing them that I'm going to do the best that I can as quickly as I can. Once they see me open up the rack and they see all of the equipment going on inside there, I think they normally, quiet down a little bit. They
Because
go, okay. They don't want to touch any of that.
no, most of them
They
don't.
don't understand any of that. Um, and some of it is sometimes just looking busy. I mean, if there's like a part I'm waiting for, if I've got to have somebody run something over to me from the office, I'll stick my head in the rack and kind of just fiddle around with stuff for a little while. Maybe try and find another workaround, get them something slightly operational. But as long as I seem busy, they seem to be appreciative of it.
Oh, that's good. Because
You know,
that is the one thing that we see here within the industry is the, and I don't want to use the word discrimination, but just the feeling that some people may not know, right,
right?
what's going on. We see that especially with youth and young. We see that sometimes with being a female in the industry that we may not know. And so it's that thing of, to me, it doesn't matter your age, your knowledge is empowering, right? Because you know things that I don't know. I've been in the industry 20 years. You know how to do things I don't know. So I'm not going to look at you and go, oh, he doesn't know anything because he's younger. I'm going to look at him and go, I hope he knows what I don't know because I can't fix this. This is the look
Yeah,
I'm gonna get is I did everything I could. Somebody else needs to come here
Yep.
because, and I hope when you show up, that's the only thing. I don't care
Yeah.
age. I don't care color. I don't care race. I don't care what it is. You just need to know how to fix it.
Yeah.
That's where I come to, right?
And that's all the time. I feel like I can resonate with that so much. It's not always, based on who has more knowledge. It's, the right knowledge. I'll constantly, if I've got an issue that I've been working on for a couple of days and I can't figure it out, I just need a new set of eyes. I
Yeah.
just need somebody else to come in here and stare at it. I don't care if it's your first week here. I'm probably missing something stupid. I'm probably missing something I could have figured out in 15 seconds. But once I passed that, my brain forgets to go back and do those steps again. Sometimes you just need a new set of eyes.
Sometimes you just need to turn it on and turn it off.
Oh, I do that all the time. Sometimes I tell people that's what I do for a living. Yeah.
Yes. Normally, that's the last thing we do when we are trying to just turn it on and turn it off and turn it back on. So, Brandon, we are from Next Level so excited that you are able to attend InfoComm with us. So, what is before we end here?
Mhm.
What is that one big thing? And it doesn't have to do anything with the technology that's there. It can be anything. What is the one big thing that you are hoping to walk away from InfoComm with?
That's a tough one. One big thing.
I mean, it could be down to getting a really nice coffee mug from some swag person.
I am. I mean, I will say I am pretty excited for the free stuff that I keep hearing about. I think my one big thing would probably just be, I want to find a better way to word it, but maybe, getting it over with. I think the first time I go to InfoComm, because I'm hoping to go back to, maybe not just InfoComm, more things like this, the experience in itself, to understand all these different booths, how to talk to these people, how to get the most information out of them. What kind of information do these people have? I mean, am I going to be walking up to somebody? I've got a few pieces of equipment in here that we have issues with all the time that, we have a solution for, but they keep popping up, Can I ask these people, how do I fix this, guys? How do I solve this? I want to know. I hope I walk away with this with the empowerment to ask more questions to these kinds of companies.
And that is an absolute amazing answer, because that first one is extremely scary. It is nerve-wracking. It is, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm sure everybody tells you about it. But yes, to say to go and be able to get it over with is not a bad thing. That is a great thing, because then you go, okay, now I know what to expect and how to manage smaller shows or bigger shows. So there's definitely nothing that is in a phenomenal answer, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so.
Well, everybody that's either listening or watching, make sure our learners will somehow have some distinguishation of who they are when they are walking around the show floor. Please introduce yourself to them. Please say hello to them. Please connect with them. Give them your card. Make them feel welcome, as we know everybody in the industry will, because we are so excited to be able to provide this exposure. So, Brandon, anybody that's listening and watching, where can they reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you?
I believe I'm Brandon R. Lynch on LinkedIn. I don't exactly have many Spotify things, I don't exactly have many social media, but if anybody's by UCF, you'll probably see me wandering around campus. I'm outside pretty much all day, moving from building to building, so you'll see me here.
Great. Well, again, thank you. We are so excited to see you in a couple weeks. Well, actually, you'll air right before the show, so we are so excited. And remember, everyone is more than words. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.